Yo, what's up? This is Artista, and welcome back to my channel where I like to talk about all things spooky, scary, and have a little bit of fun. Today, boys and ghouls, I've got the big one for you. That's right, all of the houses, shows, scare zones, and brand new street experiences have been announced for Halloween Horror Nights 34. And you know what that means. I've got to break down the entire event here on the channel, giving you a full event guide so that you know what you're getting into this year at Halloween Horror Nights. Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about every house, every scare zone, every show, and everything else that there is to cover relating to Halloween Horror Nights this year. We're gonna break it all down, talk about the overarching theme for the event that connects everything together, and I'm gonna give you every bit of information that we know so far about Halloween Horror Nights 34 over at Universal Studios Orlando. So buckle yourself in, because we've got a lot to talk about here today. And at the end of today's video, I'll even throw in a minute for you guys to screenshot all these really cool wallpapers that I made for the event this year. The past few years, I've been making these wallpapers based off of an original idea from Horror Night Nightmares that they put out many years ago. It was a one and done kind of thing, but I thought that it was so cool I would just kind of make this a tradition and keep it alive, so we'll give you that at the end of the video. I'm also going to note right here at the top that every single day at the park we're seeing new things put up around it. We're seeing new decorations, we're seeing the scare zones coming to life, house facades coming about, and honestly it is just giving life to Halloween Horror Nights. But because of how every day more and more is being added to this, there's not really so much of that I can cover into this video without it being immediately outdated just as early as tomorrow. I will be throwing in some in-park footage from Attractions 360 and Kevin Heimbach today, so I will have a little bit of B-roll to explain what's going on in the parks right now. So just keep that in mind when you're moving into this. Anyways, without further ado, let's just jump into it. Alright, boys and ghouls, so now that everything has been officially announced, Horror Night Nightmares has given us a little mock-up map of what to expect this year. Doing as we always do on this channel, we're gonna go clockwise around the map, talking about all of the haunted houses, shows, scare zones, and more. There's so much to talk about today, so let's just dive right into this, starting first with the haunted houses. So right up here at the front of the park, we're going to be greeted with the horrors of the Wyatt Sicks. At Halloween Horror Nights this year, fear is in the main event. Go head to head with the Wyatt Sicks as they lure you through the ominous doorway to their shadowy realm. Here, you're about to meet your match. It's the fight of your life. Enter the eerie arena of the Wyatt Sicks, where you'll go through an ominous doorway into the maniacal minds of Uncle Howdy, the Rambling Rabbit, Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, and Huskus the Pig. Now, I know that this one is going to be very polarizing. Either this is something that you've been praying would come to the event for a really long time now, or you just don't really get it. If you're in the latter there, be sure to head over to my channel and check out my full video that I made covering the total lore of Bray Wyatt. Honestly, there's a lot. There's so much really cool stuff we could expect to see inside of this house. I get it, it's wrestling, alright? But what you don't understand is that inside of wrestling, there is a whole world built up around these characters. Between the imagery that they come with, the masks of the Wyatt Sicks and the Fiend, and absolutely everything in between. There is so much source material for Horror Nights to play with here. But don't just take it from me. Michael Aiello, the senior director at Halloween Horror Nights himself, had a lot to say about this. In a series of tweets posted to X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, Michael writes, "Okay, so this one. There have been some lifelong passions of mine, obviously horror being one. Another is professional wrestling, specifically within the WWE. I love it so much, the pageantry, the spectacle, the stories. It truly was the door to showmanship and theater for me." Continuing on, he writes, "Good versus evil, face and heel, the bones of storytelling. And when the passion melded with horror, you couldn't pry me away from the TV or the live shows. This brings me to Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, really Windham Rotunda. His characters captivated me. I'm a die-hard Firefly. His storytelling, his use of the genre, everything. In 2019, I posted my own excitement for his return and he responded. So began some back and forth in our messages about possibilities. He really loved horror. He also really loved Halloween Horror Nights. He, like a lot of other wrestlers, frequent our event, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. These short DM conversations by us always led to someday or one day by both of us. Someday never came as Windham tragically passed away in 2023. June of 2024, Windham's brother, aka Uncle Howdy, picked up his brother's lantern and revealed the Wyatt Sicks, fully realized manifestations of Bray's stories and personas and emotions, all within this new horror-based faction. That night, they destroyed the WWE backstage area in what can only be described as a sequence that looked a lot like one of our haunted houses. That night, as soon as the episode concluded, I reached out to a longtime friend in WWE, Marty Miller, and the ball started rolling. This haunted house is a tribute to all things Wyatt, Uncle Howdy, Abby the Witch, Huskus the Pig, Rambling Rabbit, Mercy the Buzzard. It's a tribute to Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. You will walk through the door into the Lantern's light, experience the massacre of Monday Night Raw. You will walk within the Firefly Funhouse, and then into the horrific nightmares of all of these characters. For those that love WWE, there are Easter eggs galore. For those of you who haven't experienced these characters, just think of this as a gateway original house that is everything HHN is all about. Someday is now. This is for you, Bray Wyatt. Alright, so I know that was a lot to follow up, but moving up to B, we've got Five Nights at Freddy's. And boy, if this isn't another polarizing one that you either are extremely happy to see or you are absolutely wondering why it's coming to the event. Now, this one came as a shock to many. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but Five Nights at Freddy's was talked to come to the event last year. They weren't able to make it happen though. Something about rights disputes between Halloween Horror Nights and the guy that made the whole thing. But now that Five Nights at Freddy's has made a movie with Blumhouse, Horror Nights was able to find a workaround to their problem and bring Five Nights at Freddy's to the event for the fans. This haunted house is based 100% around that Blumhouse movie. The set pieces and even the costumes should look identical to what we've seen in the films. I know a lot of people are going to be really excited about this one, and honestly, I expect this to have one of the longest lines of the event on any given night here. This is something people have been asking for a really long time. Can you survive Five Nights at Freddy's? Get ready for the night watch at a creepy, abandoned pizzeria where nothing is what it seems, and possessed animatronics are lurking about. Freddy and the gang are dying to meet you. You wouldn't last one night at Freddy's, let alone 5. You're about to be hunted by deadly animatronics Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy as you flee through creepy, abandoned hallways. And moving up to C now, we've got El Artista, a Spanish haunting. In 19th century Spain, a tortured artist moves to an isolated country manor to seek inspiration. Instead, the art comes alive and possesses him. You're about to be part of the permanent exhibition. Now, this is a haunted house that we absolutely know a lot about what to expect from. In fact, this is kind of like our icon house for the year. It's not an icon house for the year, but it's kind of like one. It's said that the entire theming that's going on around this event that ties in the Scarezones and the original houses, the whole thing all together, is going to have something to do with the conservatory that stands as a central point in this story. Now, what exactly does that mean? The story around El Artista is really about a man named Sergio Navarro. The man goes to this manor seeking inspiration, but what he finds inside is going to be more in the realm of ghosts, monsters, ghouls, and goblins that take his art and the concepts of all the other artists that came before him within this conservatory and use it as some sort of a passageway into our world. It's said that a lot of the art that we'll see inside of this house will actually link to other haunted houses and scare zones throughout the park. I'm personally really intrigued by this concept and really excited to see how it turns out. Moving on to D, we've got Grave of Flesh, your dead meat. Welcome to your funeral, where things are about to go from bad to worse. You'll enter your grave and then the underworld, where flesh eaters who feed on the dead will hunt you for all of eternity. In stark contrast to the one we just talked about, this is one we don't know too much about just yet. But man, when I read this description and then close my eyes and think of what we're going to be seeing here, there are so many wild things that we could cook up, aren't there? You'll enter your grave and then the underworld. To me, this sounds like we're going to be taking some kind of wild walk down the river of Styx, where all kinds of insane monsters are going to be chasing after us. I mean, just this thing on the key art alone is super crazy looking. I can only imagine what kind of monsters we'll be coming face to face with here. Across the street at E, we've got Terrifier. The Terrifier isn't clowning around. Try your luck against Art the Clown in the Terrifier Funhouse. You'll witness his grotesque handiwork of torture and be exposed to the splatter of his victims. It's a whole new level of gore. In a post from Michael Aiello, he states that Terrifier is coming to Halloween Horror Nights. Our team's partnered with Damien Leone to bring probably the goriest house we've done in a long time. A finale that may require a poncho. A user writes, I'm just gonna assume the smells inside of the house will be gnarly. With John Murdy from over in Hollywood saying, I wouldn't go in the bathroom. More news for Hollywood that could be relevant in Orlando. A user asks, will Terrifier have a pre-show? With Murdy responding, yes, that's gonna take a lot of time to block with performers. Now, if you're a fan of Terrifier, then you know that this is going to be a grisly one. And personally, I'm kind of surprised at how much they're talking this thing up here. We've seen some really gnarly haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights, and I mean, even recently, we've seen things like Blood Moon Dark Offerings, Hellblock Horror, and even the Nightingale's house that we had a few years ago. Halloween Horror Nights is no stranger to just dumping blood all over the place. So I'm really interested in how exactly Terrifier is going to be be so uniquely disgusting here. One rumor that's been flying around for a little while now is that this haunted house may even have multiple endings, with one of them being more of a dry ending and the other one being extremely wet. Do you think that there'll be Guar style spraying people down with fake blood in one of these? I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. It would also be very risky, wouldn't it? I do find it interesting though, with all the talk of how much water is going to be used throughout the entire house spraying it all over you, why the ending here needs two separate paths. Like, are they just going to dump a bucket of water on your head as you're walking out? We're just going to have to find out when Halloween Horror Nights opens, aren't we? Moving our way down the street a little bit, we've got Jason Universe. Here, evil doesn't stay dead. The iconic horror villain Jason Voorhees is coming for you. Step into his terrifying world, from his sinister shack in the woods to the summer camp where it all began. In Jason Universe, come face to face with the iconic horror villain Jason Voorhees, stepping into the terrifying world of the silent killer. Flee through the woods and into his sinister shack. Enter the summer camp where his gruesome legend began. Jason is back and nothing can save you now. So in case you haven't noticed about this is called Jason Universe and not Friday the 13th, and that is for a very particular reason. The rights surrounding Mr. Voorhees and all of the Friday the 13th stuff has been in an absolute purgatory for a really long time now. That's why we haven't seen anything new coming out about this guy, while everybody else has been getting their resurgences. Recently, that dispute had finally become settled, and that's why Jason Universe has now been created. This is an entirely new property that doesn't use the Friday the 13th name, but does own the character of Jason Voorhees. Now, what does this mean for this haunted house exactly? From what I've been told, we can expect to see a lot of iconic scenes and imagery from throughout the movies in this haunted house. From my understanding, they don't actually have to hold back on anything specific like that. So if you're expecting this to be just kind of a generic Jason at home experience, that is not what this is going to be. You should expect something a little bit more similar to the Texas chainsaw houses that we've had in the past few years on both coasts. Not so much following exactly through a single movie script, but just a modge-podge of characters and scenes kind of hanging out in places that we'd recognize. All in all, Friday the 13th, Jason Universe, Jason Voorhees, whatever you want to call it. This is something that we've wanted at Halloween Horror Nights ever since the last time we had it, and it's been a very long time. So in whatever form we're getting it, I'm happy that it's coming. Now, trekking our way all the way back to the tent houses, starting in G, we've got Fallout. The vaults can't save you now. It's time to face the fallout. Face your fears in post-apocalyptic LA that's been devastated by nuclear war. Based on the hit TV show and game franchise Fallout, you'll travel into the vaults and be attacked by raiders alongside Lucy. You'll escape to the wasteland and be confronted by the bounty hunter, the Ghoul. You'll even encounter Maximus with the Brotherhood of Steel and see T-60 power armor. IGN got to interview people who worked on this house for both Hollywood and Orlando's versions respectively, and in that interview we learned a lot of really cool things here. Guests will first enter Vault 33 and follow Lucy McLean as she tries to escape a bloody massacre while also learning of an evil hidden secret. The journey will then take guests outside the vault and into the wasteland, where they will need to dodge attacks from both scavengers, raiders, and even mutated cockroaches known as radroaches. Throughout the trek through the wasteland, guests will visit the Super Duper Mart, encounter the Ghoul, and even meet Maximus in his massive T-60 armor. As you go through these environments, we want fans to say, I recognize this, I'm in a Fallout vault. How cool is that? Where else are you gonna get to say that while walking through a Fallout vault and then into a wasteland and seeing ghouls? You can see that and understand what the world is just by what you pass, including the bodies when Lucy first exits the vault. That type of thing is really good for us at Halloween Horror Nights, and yes, it's gruesome, which is what our fans want at Horror Nights. It's also scary and provides great characters, good monsters, all the mutated creatures, and the ghouls. That's ripe for the picking when it comes to Horror Nights. In Orlando, we do have kind of a final battle moment. I'm not going to reveal too much, but yes, T-60s will be part of that battle. We also got the chance to fit in Philly, and I think having a moment to get a real-life Fallout battle happening there is pretty cool. If you're here for a second or third time through the house, and you get the chance to glance when you're not being totally terrified, you can see a lot of those Easter eggs existing throughout the house. So from everything that we know about Fallout, it sounds like it's going to be a love letter to both the video games, the show, and all of the fans of both. I know, Fallout isn't exactly the most shockingly horror thing that we could be coming to the event, but it's all within the context. If you've played these games, you're probably not having much of a hard time seeing this coming to the event though. In the next tent over, we'll have Galkin, monsters of the north. Galkin? I don't know, man. Let's read the description. Call forth a legion of terrors. In a remote northern village, a wicked being rises from the dead, bringing a horde of monsters and demons from the fords to wreak havoc on the townspeople. Try to escape the belly of the beast. This is another one that we don't know too much about so far, but what was once described as a Viking winter haunted house has now developed into some kind of insane evil folklore house. One thing we know about Halloween Horror Nights is anytime they put a haunted house out in the snow, it becomes absolutely beautiful. The design team always knocks these kind of houses out of the park. Whatever we're getting here, from Vikings to spirits to monsters, I'm really excited to see what these hordes of undead are doing out here in the snow. Moving down just a little bit, we've got Dolls Let's Play Dead. Welcome to her toy box of terror. You're about to become doll-sized and witness the unnatural creations of a twisted little girl. You'll be hunted by burnt fashion dolls, toys she's melded together, and undead horrors in her dollhouse. Now, this is one that I've seen at the bottom of a lot of people's hype lists, but trust me, I think they could be cooking here. Now just imagine for a second that you're in some kind of insane evil alt-world Toy Story dimension. You are the size of the dolls, and you're surrounded by all kinds of super gruesome creations all around you. Just think of like melted Barbie dolls, baby doll heads stuffed on all kinds of weird creations. Truly, there's just so much that they can do here. The key point for me here is that we are the size of the dolls. Everything in this house should be massive. I'm sure that the set pieces are going to be really cool, and I just can't even imagine what they're going to be doing with that. Perhaps even at some point in the house, we'll get to see some big old puppets showing us like the little girl playing with everything. Even if it's just like her hands or like a full-scale puppet of like a massive thing inside of there, I think this could be really cool. And last up on our list, coming straight out of Slaughter Cinema 2, we've got Hatchet and Chains, Demon Bounty Hunters. They're the outlaws from hell. In this old west town, all hell is breaking loose. Red-hot lava demons are trying to possess everyone, melting everything in their path. Your only hope? Hatchet and Chains with their mystical weapons. So as I just mentioned, this haunted house is based off of a single room from Slaughter Cinema 2. And if you aren't aware, this is something that Halloween Horror Nights has done multiple times in the past before. They'll take a property that was wildly successful inside of the Slaughter Cinema house and turn it into a whole haunted house, sometimes even a series of haunted houses. And man, every time it works. Hatchet and Chains is definitely going to be on the slapstick side, but I could also see this being very visceral and very violent. While it definitely parades itself as kind of a comedy house, it also is grindhouse. Absolutely to its core. Very grindhouse. This is one of the haunted houses that I'm very excited for at the event this year. Oh man, these houses are sounding great, aren't they? We've got some really strong IPs, and I've been saying it all year, it really feels like there's something for everyone here. From the Wyatt Sicks, to Fallout, to Five Nights at Freddy's, to Jason Voorhees, and even Art the Clown Man. I mean, oh my goodness, this is like an all-star team right here. These are all IPs that people have been asking for to come to the event for a really long time, and it is so cool to see them all here together. Every single one of these is pretty outside of the box in my opinion. But it doesn't just end there. We've got some insanely strong originals this year as well. What was once thought to be a budget year with Epic Universe opening up has actually turned out to be one of the best events that we've had in recent memory. I'm really excited for Artista and to see just exactly how far that sinks its claws into the event this year. It's said that the overarching theme surrounding the entire event kinda spawns from this house. No one is exactly throwing Sergio into an icon seat just yet, but it seems that the things that we see inside of this house will connect to the other houses and scare zones throughout the event. And personally, I think that that is really cool. Sinister and Surreal just didn't really do it for me last year, and I hope that this executes the whole thing a lot better. The idea of Sergio not necessarily being an icon, but that his story being the whole thing that the theme surrounds around is really cool, new, and interesting for Halloween Horror Nights. It's been said that inside of Artista, we'll see a lot of art that kind of gives Easter eggs for the other haunted houses, and I can't wait to see how they execute that. Now, before we jump into the scare zones and street experiences that we'll be having this year, let me first talk about the shows. First of all, and a surprise to no one but a pleasure to many, we have the return of Nightmare Fuel, this time with a Circus of Decay overlay. Now, when it comes to Nightmare Fuel, we all pretty much know what to expect here. Magic, dancing, fire, man, they really got it all. But this time, the spectacular show is at least gonna have a new backdrop to it. We've seen in pictures on the internet these new set pieces that stand like giant reapers in the background. These things are looking really cool, and I'm excited to see the stage and really just the whole show when it's all pulled off here. But hey, I get it. Nightmare Fuel's not for everybody. Some people are really tired of seeing this show. But lucky for you, we are having a second show at Horror Nights this year. That's right, boys and ghouls, the return of the Lagoon Show. Ghoulish, this time by the name of Hauntophonic, a ghoulish journey. Not much is known about this particular Lagoon Show here, but if you've seen any of the Universal Lagoon shows in the past, then you know that this is something that's going to be really cool. Now, the first time I ever witnessed one of these, I went into it thinking, okay, it's a water show. How cool can water truly be, you know? And then when this thing started up and I got to see it for myself, my jaw was on the floor. This thing is truly a spectacle of modern technology. If you're not quite sure about this one or don't really know what to expect, trust me, just give it a shot. It's hard to explain, but trust me. That's right, with the return of the Lagoon Show, we finally have 2 shows at Halloween Horror Nights again. With Rip Ride Rockit not eating up so many people at the event, I'm really glad that we'll have something else for people to stand around and look at. I'm sure that the lines this year are going to be crazy with the list of IPs that we have, so it's really cool that we'll have this year to eat up some of the people. The Lagoon Show and Nightmare Fuel are both 2 shows that I cannot personally wait to see. They're always so good, and we've been really missing that Lagoon Show in the past couple of years. Now, restarting our clockwise rotation and talking about the scare zones here, I first gotta say that we've seen a lot of construction going up in the park about these. I'm gonna do my best to touch on that as we're going through this here, but every single day, more and more stuff is popping up, and I don't want to waste too much time talking about things that are probably gonna be outdated by the time you even watch this video. But with that little disclaimer, we're gonna start off in the front of the park with our entry port scare zone for this year, the Origins of Horror. Now, in the last couple of years, the entry port scare zones have been a little bit disappointing. We've gotten that big structure in the front that's got the neon sign that says Halloween Horror Nights, but we don't really get too much more than that besides a few street performers. This year, it seems like that is being addressed and answered. In the Origins of Horror, you'll enter a decaying conservatory of twisted vines where artists carve tributes to Halloween Horror Nights 34. You'll encounter monstrous crows, gargoyles, and more. This scare zone is promising to bring us all of those traditional Halloween and gothic horror vibes right as soon as we walk into the park. The idea of tributes carved to Halloween Horror Nights 34 reminds me of those tributes left in years past by the entry ports, normally offering really cool scare zones directly associated to the IPs or houses throughout the park. This is something they've done once or twice before, and I think it's a really cool idea. But that's not all that we'll be seeing in the front of this scare zone. No, we're seeing full-on props and decor scattered around, something that's been kind of missing from our entry ports for a little while now. And man, these things look really, really cool. So as we mentioned before, the conservatory is something that ties into El Artista and is supposed to tie into all of the scare zones and houses this year. But this being our entry port, it seems that this is the conservatory. We see that reflected in all of these really cool set pieces with stained glass all over the place. This year, it sounds like our entry port is going to be anything but mid. Moving down the street, we have Mutations, Toxic 20s. In a bustling 1920s neighborhood, a BuzzCon truck with radioactive cargo crashes into a mobster getaway car, sending the city into toxic pandemonium. It mutates everyone in its path, including you. Now, this scare zone doesn't have a whole lot of props set out for it yet, but it's one that we can have a pretty clear idea of what to expect here. Mutated monsters and gnarly creatures walking around in a 1920s setting. The mobsters should be slapstick and funny. I'm excited to see that thrown into the mix. And a BuzzCon truck filled with radioactive cargo? Where have we heard of BuzzCon before? I love that little tie-in here. The next official scare zone, and I'm saying this in quotations here, is listed all the way over in Central Park. Yes, that's right, we're skipping over Club Horror for right now, but we'll be coming back to that. The Cat Lady of Crooked Lane will see us traveling down a spooky winding path to a mysterious home, where trick-or-treaters are transformed into feral felines. Be careful, or you'll be next. This is the scare zone we've seen the most setup done for so far. And man, this is really drawing people back to the trick-or-treat scare zone that we saw here years prior. And no one is complaining about this. Seeing the jack-o'-lanterns up in the trees again is absolutely beautiful. And all of the vintage Halloween set pieces put out just really give me that vibe that I'm craving at Halloween Horror Nights. The whole idea here of having a big central house set up at the end of the street with a whole stage around it is really, really cool. They're extending the scare zone out with this, and I think it's going to be a really welcome addition. The scare actors here will probably mostly consist of trick-or-treaters and witches, but we also gotta leave room for whatever it means about the kids being turned into feral felines. In my head, this means we'll probably be seeing some insane hybrid creatures in the mix. I don't know though. Could that be too twisted for Crooked Lane? Probably not. The last traditional scare zone on our list here is going to be Masquerade, Dance with Death. You're invited to a masquerade masquerade ball where bloodthirsty vampires lurk behind ornate disguises. When their masks fall, you'll become their prey. The decor going up throughout this scare zone seems really cool. We see a lot of those gothic stained glass vibes here again, but this time it's all going to be representing bloodthirsty vampires in masquerade outfits. In Horror Nights past, a lot of times when they do these vampire scare zones, they kind of like to set it to a certain decade and call it like vamp whatever. This time around, they're moving away from that cliche. Why might that be? A lot of people speculate that maybe this scare zone will feature vampires dressed throughout every decade. Maybe this takes place in the modern time, and because a lot of these are more eternal beings, they're more acclaimed to different periods of time, and we'll see things from them. Others believe that this is going to be set in more of a Victorian or Gothic time frame. Personally, I'm not quite sure, but whatever it is, it sounds like it's going to be pretty cool to me. Vampires give that old school horror vibe, and I mean, hey, I'm sure Universal's going to have a lot of fun with this one. Now, the last two scare zones on this list are non-traditional. These two here are being described as street experiences this year. What exactly does that mean? Well, we don't know, but it's been explained that we'll be getting brave, all-new street experiences that will take the horror to new heights, featuring zombie car hops, undead DJs, and more. These two street experiences being Club Horror and Mel's Dying Zombies, respectively. With this given information, it kind of begs a lot of questions, like will these be traveling hordes, kind of like what we've seen in the past, or will these just be like scare zones with a new name to them? As far as Club Horror goes, it's not too much of a stretch to imagine that this is going to be more of a party zone, a pseudo safe space for people to just have some drinks and take some pictures. We'll definitely see some scare actors in the mix here, but it'll be very different from a traditional scare zone. The Mel's Dying Zombies, however, I have less of an idea on. We did see Universal Orlando asking for scare actors to submit applications who were good on roller skates. So could we be seeing like zombies on roller skates riding around scaring people here? Or do you think that this will be more like a scare actor dining kind of situation, with scare actors in Mel's or even the workers in there having a bit of makeup on? We're not 100% sure what to expect out of these, but these new experiences are very, very cool and interesting. Yes, so this year we have all original scare zones, no IPs to speak of here, and 4 traditional scare zones with 2 brand new street experiences at that. Be sure to hit those comments down below to let me know exactly what you think we'll be getting out of those. I'd also like to note that people have been seeing a lot of Oddfellow symbols going up around the Crooked Lane. Some people even speculating that maybe Oddfellow and the Pumpkin Lord are in cahoots here. Could it be that the witch that lives on the end of Crooked Lane is the same witch from the Pumpkin Lord house? What do you guys think about that? I'm really excited for the upgrades to the entry port scare zone and how that'll tie into all the other scare zones this year. And the houses, really. I'm interested to see what these tributes are carved to. It's been said that the theming this year will feel more immersive than ever, and that'll be displayed through the scare zones all being extended out throughout the park this year, and we're already seeing that with how they're setting these things up. Just about every one of these scare zones is reaching its fingers a little bit further than it normally does, and I think that that'll improve the overall theming of the event in a big way. Maybe the addition of the street experiences and the fleshing out of these scare zones will give the event a fresh coat of paint feeling that we've been so much craving for the past couple of years. But overall, man, I'm just so excited for this year. It is really going to be a good one. It's got all of the makings for it. And man, it is finally time to say it, but speculation season for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando is over. Now, boys and ghouls, it is just about time for us to journey forth into the fog and enjoy the night. But don't fret, because we've still got so much more to cover here on the channel. Not only is there a little bit more to speculate over in Hollywood, which I will be covering, but we've also got so much HHN homework for both coasts to cover here on the channel. We're going to be making videos talking about all of the IPs and the originals, going over everything that you need to know to just prepare you for the event this year. In today's video, we did a more general explanation of those things, but I'll be making deep dives into each and everything coming to the event. Some of these things have already been covered. I've got a really killer video on Bray Wyatt that you should definitely check out if you're not a wrestling fan. But besides that, how'd you guys enjoy the video today? Are you excited for Halloween Horror Nights 34 at Universal Studios Orlando? If you are or aren't, be sure to let me know in the comments. I want to hear which houses you are most excited for, which ones you are least excited for, what kind of things you want to see at the event, and let me know what kind of food booths you're excited to hit this year. There is still so much more to cover when it comes to Horror Nights, so be sure to subscribe to stay updated with the channel for more content. If you enjoyed my video today, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content just like this. I'm still pretty new over here on YouTube, but I've got hours and hours of awesome horror content over on the channel for you guys to check out. Be sure to take a browse through the catalog. You'll probably find some other stuff you like. If you really enjoyed the video today, be sure to send it over to a friend you think might enjoy it too. Everybody make sure you got your finger on the screenshot trigger, because at the end of this, I'm going to be dropping some cool wallpapers for you guys to pick up. I've been Artista, and whether your day's been going good or bad today, I hope it gets better.